Welcome back to the set at the Florida Aviation Network. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your hosts, and we're here at the 42nd Sun and Fun International Convention and Fly-In. We can be viewed on www.floridaaviationnetwork.com, and we welcome you to go there to look at the myriad of shows and safety presentations that we have to promote aviation. That's what we're here for. All of our volunteers, we are here for you. And not only are we here for you, we're here to expose you to as much aviation as we can from different perspectives. And one of the perspectives that we have here with us today, Missionary Flights International, we have Joe Karabensh.
Great to be here.
Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
All right, Karabensh.
Just like you're taking care of a bench.
Taking care of a bench, Karabensh. You've said that before, haven't you?
I have.
Joe, you are with Missionary Flights International and MFI. I don't know if the viewing audience would really fully understand what MFI does, where they go, what their missions are, and who it affects. Can you give us what is your role with MFI?
Currently, I'm the president of Missionary Flights International. I've been with Missionary Flights for 20 years. And last January, I assumed the role of presidency. I'm also a pilot. We fly DC-3s. We've been operating for 52 years now, and the DC-3s we currently operate are turboprop DC-3s. They've been converted to have the PT6 engines on them, make them much more efficient, faster. They carry more weight. But our area of service is to Hispaniola, made up of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. We also fly to the Bahamas. But we serve missionaries. Our mission is to spread the good news of Jesus Christ in partnership with Bible-centered missions by providing reliable transportation and logistical services. So we'll do whatever needs to be done. We partner with over 400 mission organizations, bringing in supplies, people, about 3,000 people a year travel on us to do short-term projects in orphanages, schools, churches, hospitals, clinics, well drilling projects, and so we bring them back and forth mainly to Haiti. We average about 3 flights a week on an annual basis, and so we stay fairly busy with those DC-3s.
It sounds like you got your hands full.
Yeah.
And hours-wise, how many hours you? I'm sure you record this, and what is your record as far as the most amount of activity that you've had on your flights?
You mean as far as like how many hours we fly on an annual basis?
Per month, per year?
I think it's about 1,400 hours a year that we fly our DC-3. So typically our flights are on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're getting the planes ready on Mondays and Wednesdays, loading them, getting them prepared. The passengers are checking in. Whatever doesn't fill up the plane with the passengers and their baggage, we'll fill up with the cargo that goes down, the mail that goes down. And so we get them at gross weight. We stop in the Bahamas in Exuma, halfway there. The planes, obviously, they have big enough fuel tanks to be able to fly directly, but we can take about 1,500 more pounds by stopping in the Bahamas and filling up. And then we're able to bring the supplies and people down, and it's a full day. And then sometimes on Fridays we'll do a flight as well, depending on the load, but some days we're taking 2 planes, sometimes just 1.
And so, you find that the turbines worked out a lot better for you than the radials.
Oh yes, yeah. At one point we had 4 radial engine DC-3s we were operating, but these 2 turboprop DC-3s that we're currently flying do the same work that the 4 did because there's a lot less maintenance. They also go faster. Instead of about 150 knots, they go 200 knots. They're able to take about 1,500 more pounds because the engines, when they've taken off the old radial engines, the new turboprop engines weigh less, and which also created a problem. I mean, it created a great result that you can carry more weight, but also the plane became too tail heavy. So when they did the conversion, they not only just put the engines on, they actually lengthened the aircraft. So the aircraft, the nose is out further. We've got more room inside, so we can carry more weight. We can fit more weight. It goes faster and uses jet fuel, which is cheaper most often in the Caribbean, also more readily available. In the north part of Haiti, where our main work is, they haven't had avgas there since 2004. And so,
and I doubt that they're going to get any.
No, it's been a long time. So we, about 3 years ago, we stopped flying our last radial engine DC-3, and currently are flying these 2 turboprop ones.
Well, great. And my friend Dick Schnook, you took over for Dick, I'm sure.
That's right, yeah. Dick is still with us. He's considered president emeritus now and does a lot of traveling and promoting and speaking about MFI, trying to raise awareness and publicity. So he's here this week too, here at Sun and Fun.
Well, I hope to be able to sneak out and see Dick before the week gets away from us. And where do you see, right now you're operating with two DC-3s, turbine.
Correct.
Are you going to be adding more, or
we actually do. We own a third one. It was actually given to us about a year ago. It had a few problems. It's missing the engines.
That's not a big deal. It's a glider now. So.
There was no radios or instruments, and the wings were off of it. And it's located in South Africa.
Okay, that's a challenge right there.
Yes.
You do it.
So, but it was given to us. It had some liens against it, which we paid off. Mm-hmm. But to get an airframe like that, again, it's already been converted. It's been lengthened. It's had all the modifications done. Mm-hmm. It was just missing a few items. Mm-hmm. We were able to raise funds to buy the PT6 engines, and so we have those. And actually, this week we are shipping them over to South Africa. We're going to put them on the plane. We're going to put the wings back on. We're going to put instruments and radios in and fly it back hopefully by the end of summer.
Good grief. That's a lot of work.
It is. And once it gets here, it's not done. We're going to have to redo the airframe, put a new floor in, put a lavatory in, put a galley in. We have some seats that need to be reupholstered because it won't come with any seats, so we'll get those fit up. It would probably take us about a year. Worth of work, but we'll get it painted and hopefully we'll get it into service and do some expansion.
And as far as your crew size, how many folks are involved in working the Missionary Flights International, the organization-wide?
We have 25 employees that are working. 12 are pilots, but also mechanics. We've got 3 maintenance specialists. We've got 4 ladies in the office. We've got some PR people, fundraisers. We have a gentleman that does purchasing. Mm-hmm. As I said, we work for over 400 mission organizations. Mm-hmm. And in Haiti, they don't have Walmart.
No.
They don't have a Sam's Club. They don't have a Ford dealership. They don't have, truck parts. We buy things for them to keep their vehicles up and running, to keep their computers up and running, to bring Bibles to them, to bring medicine. Anything the missions need, we can buy here locally and then fly down on our flights as they have need. And so it's a great operation.
It sounds like it. And Joe, you're with most missionary organizations, missionary flights organizations, or other missionary organizations, pilot mechanic is almost a requirement.
Yes.
Because you get out to some remote areas, and if you don't know how to fix it, you're stuck.
You're stuck, yeah.
And
we haven't had that problem lately because the turboprop engines are so reliable. I mean, years ago when I first started, it seemed like there was always some little thing that would go on overseas, and you'd spend a night, maybe once a month, because
fuel pump, starter, mag.
That's right.
It's just all sorts of things.
And probably about maybe 6 years ago, we were having this discussion. Are we ever going to get rid of all of our radial engine DC-3s and totally convert over the turboprops? Because our first turboprop DC-3 we got in 2003, and our second one we got in 2011. But there was always this feeling of, we can't get rid of the DC-3s with the radial engines. There's so much nostalgia.
Heritage.
Yeah. But there was one day in November, I remember, Dick Schnook was on one plane, I was on another, and we flew down, and both planes had mechanical problems. One was with the magnetos. The one I was on had some oil passage plugged by a piece of rubber that we ended up finding. It kept blowing oil out the valve cover. But we got stuck, and it was after that flight I think we realized, you know what?
It's time.
It's time, yeah.
I mean, as much as you love the old radial DC-3s, they have a time, they have a purpose. A good friend of mine, Carl Stoltzfus.
Oh yeah, we know the Stoltzfuses.
Yeah. He has a classic, and they are classics, but you've got to operate them as classics, and really not something you can really depend on right now.
Right.
Unless you have a lot of people and a lot of spare parts.
Correct. Yeah, there was so much time we spent on maintenance, and you couldn't really fly and then fly the next day, consistently to keep a schedule. We always, we had 4 of them to basically operate 2 two and a half, of them at a time, because there's always maintenance to be done on them. I think the statistic was for every hour of flying, you're doing 4 hours of maintenance. I don't know what it is with the turbine, but we pretty much can fly it and turn it around the next day. So.
Yeah, that's. And where do you get your pilots? I mean, your pilot pool, or your pilot mechanic pool, or are you getting away from the pilot mechanic?
No, we still have
concept?
all pilot mechanics that we use. We have a dozen pilots, like I said before. We don't have a lot of turnover. We have a lot of guys that have been there. I've been there 20 years, but I mean, there's people been there 20, 30, 40. Well, we have one guy 40-something years. He's getting ready to retire. He's actually our not a pilot. Was our chief of maintenance, then became our operations guy, and now he's our vice president. But
he's
a long time. Yeah,
family.
But most of our guys will come through schools. Moody Aviation is one missionary, specific school specifically for missionary pilots, and you get your mechanics rating. Laterno in Texas. We've had some come from SMAT. Let's see, I forget what that stands for. School of Missionary Aviation Technology. So there's a variety of places they come from, but again, there's not a whole big turnover.
How about JARS? Any activity with the JARS folks in North Carolina?
Well, they don't do the training of the pilots. They are similar to us, where they use smaller airplanes overseas to bring supplies and missionaries out to small grass airstrips. And so, in a sense, they don't work in Haiti. MAF, I don't know if you heard of Mission Aviation Fellowship, they're all around the world too, with a lot of smaller planes, but they actually operate in Haiti. So they're one of the 400 missions that we supply, and so we're a lot of times bringing them supplies, aircraft parts, whatever else they need. Sometimes they bring their plane to our hangar, because we allow them to use our hangar when they do an engine change. Because years ago we flew an engine down to them so they could, install a new overhauled engine, and Haiti charged them thousands of dollars of import tax. So now they just fly the plane out to us. Our headquarters are in Fort Pierce, Florida, just a little bit north of West Palm Beach. And they fly the plane out, they can install the engine and fly back, and it doesn't become an issue of importation. So.
Or in the real days, you'd go back to a strip somewhere, you go chop down some trees, use those to hoist the engine up, and you've never done that, have you?
Yeah. No, we haven't had to.
Okay.
So.
But there's, and the thing that amazes me, and that really, I have a lot of respect for what you guys do, because when you go off to the out country, and you are at the mercy of the weather, the elements, the locals, the natives, now, the governments, sometimes the tyrannies, and so you've got to really be dedicated to want to get out there and either get your cargo, your people, your loads. Well, that's the mission.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that gets the challenge going on for the true aviation spirit of being able to just get it done.
Well, it's exciting to be, it's almost like going back in time when you head to Haiti. We actually land in the north part, most in Cap Haitian. It's an international airport, it's paved, really long runway, but many of our teams go to the middle of the country to a grass airstrip. So we clear them into the country, they get back on the airplane, we take off and go to the middle of the country, land on a grass airstrip. The DC-3 is perfect for it with the big balloon tires and works out well. We actually take a customs official with us because we have cargo on board that the mission teams and the missionaries there need. And so he'll take his folding chair, put it underneath the wing, and have some receipts and charge the customs duty right there underneath the wing, and they get their cargo. He gets back on the plane, we bring him back to the airport, and we head back home. So it's exciting.
All in a day's work.
Yeah.
And where are you, I know you're going to add the third airplane once you get it back over. And what's your I know you've got to have a 5 or 10 year plan.
Yeah.
Where are we going?
We are excited about...
You're a young man. You got a lot of miles left.
I have a few years ahead, yeah. Well, I'm 53. So
that's young. Trust
this
me,
month.
That's young.
Yes.
Trust me. It used to be old.
I know.
Now it's young.
We are excited about things happening. On the 25th of April, I'm actually flying a small plane, a Cessna 310 that we own. We use that for emergencies sometimes to pick up missionaries in Haiti that maybe break their leg or whatever, need to come out real quick. But we're going to be going to Cuba. And for the last 20 years since I've been at MFI, we've been talking, and there's always been the question, when is MFI ever going to go to Cuba? And if you've been watching the news, there's been a lot of changes. And so we're excited to see what can happen there. Obviously, there's still the embargo, and so just bringing cargo in is going to be difficult. But I'm heading down there with some folks with another mission agency, Agape Flights. They're based here in Florida as well. And the CEO of that organization, Alan Spear, has been to Cuba over 70 times. He's got some connections. He knows a lot of the government officials, the airport officials, and some church leaders. We're going to go down there for the week and to look at seeing how we can open the doors. But once that plane gets back here from South Africa, we want to start using that to bring teams into Cuba to assist the churches there, to help build things, to help the needs there. And we hope that the door can be open for that. And we're excited about it.
Well, it's I mean, these are points in time and history
Yeah.
we're going to look back on and say, well, I was there when I saw that thing start, as far as the missionary flights going over to Cuba. But
Yeah.
and Dick, I know he's there emeritus now. He's kind of passed the baton. And where do you see your guy? I'm just very enthralled in the youth and involvement of the youth. And you get your pilots are fed to you by other operations. Do you guys expend much energy in trying to get youth to either help assist in loading, unloading? I mean, what type of, do you have a program for doing it?
We do use a lot of youth throughout the year. Sometimes we've had guys that are very interested in aviation, maybe locally, and they want to volunteer, especially in the summertime when they're not in school. We have other college guys that come down. They may be looking to become a missionary pilot. They want to spend a few months with us, and we can provide some housing and get them if they're out of state. But we use a lot of volunteers to help load. But it's a good way. We're very friendly. So we'd love to have youth come by and contact us. Our website at missionaryflights.org. You can find contact information, email us, and it's very easy to contact us. We'll see what we can do.
And do you have one airplane here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this week, actually today, they're probably just about taking off from Haiti. Should be back about 6:30 to Fort Pierce. Our other plane is here for the week, so you can go inside the plane, no charge. We've got pilots there. We've got a video going on inside the cabin, and some little posters that talk about the different ways that we serve in orphanages and churches and hospitals, well drilling projects. There's some good pictures, T-shirts and hats and all sorts of stuff. So I'd love to see you. There's also a tent with all the Missionary Aviation organizations that are in it, MAF and JARS, kind of, I don't know, near the entrance, and you head towards the experimental airplanes.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing it down there.
Yeah, so they've got some of their missionary aviation planes there, Kodiaks and Caravans. So,
well, we, as a matter of fact, I think I hear a DC-3 now coming flying over the building.
That's not ours. Ours is turbine.
No, but that is a 3.
Yeah.
Well, no, it sounded like a 3. What could it?
It sounds like one.
It could be the 17.
Yeah, very similar.
Oh well. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm easily disrupted here, but we're here at the air show. Did we tell you we're here at Sun and Fun? It's actually going on behind us, and but we are going to be wrapping it up here with Joe. Joe, on parting thoughts, is there anything that you'd like to, as we say in the business, lay down on tape to be able to pull up on some of your B-roll or anything that you'd like for your marketing efforts? This is your opportunity to bring it up.
Sure. Well, as maybe you don't know, Missionary Flights International is funded by donations, and we operate solely by what the Lord brings in through generous donors. All of our pilots and mechanics are supported by individuals, churches, and companies that pledge some donations, and they're paid by that each month. Our bills are paid by generous donations that give to our general fund, and when we buy planes or parts for our planes, and our hangars are all paid for. We're debt free. That's all paid for by donations. And this third airplane, we've raised about $1.5 million for it. We've bought the engines, we've paid off the liens, and we have enough money to bring it home. Once it gets here, it's going to probably need about another $600,000 to refurbish it. But again, donations are going to come in, and we're excited. If you want to go to our website, you can see some latest videos on some of the lives we've touched. A little girl named Lavi, her name means life in Creole, and she was a premature baby that the mother basically left the father after she was born. They had 8 other kids, and she had some mental illness problems, and basically the father, in that situation, what do? He said, you just let the child die, which we would never think of that. You'd think, oh, you bring him to an orphanage or a hospital. After 10 days, she didn't die. He finally brought her to this missionary couple and said, here, she won't die. They ended up taking her in, and they called us, we brought down some formula and some bottles and different stuff. They kept her alive, and she's now about 4 years old. You'll see her in the video. It's really exciting. That's just one little story of the impact that we have. Thousands of people are affected, and just love for you guys to come visit us. We have banquets throughout the year. We have a family day the first Saturday in March where families come, take plane rides, and there's kids games. Love to have you visit us and show you what's going on.
This is at Fort Pierce.
At Fort Pierce, yes.
Okay. We'll send them to your site. That's what we can do.
Yes.
Joe, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Great to be here, Ben.
For spending your time here with us, and we'll try to steer everybody out to your display. When the airplane's out there.
And the airplane outside on the ramp. It's the biggest one out there.
Perfect.
So far, unless I don't know what else is coming this week.
That's perfect. Thank you, Joe. And we're going to knock it off for this session, but we will be back for another compelling and interesting interview here at Florida Aviation Network. Ben Coleman, your host. See you later.